Lord, I bow down before you. I was lost in despair, but nobody knew, 'cause I smiled through it all, and I constantly prayed to you. I needed a kind word, a smile or a hug. I needed to know that somebody loved me, 'cause I felt so all alone. But lo and behold,
in the midst of it all,
in the midst of it all,
you encouraged my soul.
Yeah, you did.
So I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep
holding on.
Keep holding on. In the
midst of it all,
right in the middle,
you encouraged my soul.
That's what your word did. Your word encouraged me. I'll just keep holding on. So I stayed, Lord, in your presence, 'cause I believed you would hear me, but I didn't know you were already moving. Lord, you were there all along. Then you sent down your angels to lift my head up just a little higher. And that's when I knew you heard me, saw me, loved me. Yes, you did. And once again I regained hope in the midst of it all. Right in the midst of it all,
you encouraged my soul. So I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Whoa. In the midst
of it all,
in the middle of my mess, you begin to bless.
you encouraged my soul.
So I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Weeping may last all night, joy will come in the morning light, 'cause you never fail to supply my needs. And the more I prayed, the more I knew your love for me would see me through, and your favor and grace fell on me. In the midst
of it all,
that's when it happened, yeah.
you encouraged my soul.
So I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on to your unchanging hand. In the midst
of it all,
you encourage me, my whole soul.
so I won't let go.
I won't let go.
I'll just keep
I'll keep holding on. In the midst
of it all,
ooh,
you encouraged my soul.
I won't let go. I can't let go.
I'll just keep
I'll just keep
holding on.
holding on.
Holding on in the midst of it all,
In the midst of it all,
you encouraged my soul.
you encourage my soul. Can't let go. hello. This is your pastor, R.C. Blakes, once again. I am so thrilled today about the word that I have to share with you. I think it's going to really, really help you. I know I say that all of the time, and it's because I really aim to deliver a word that helps you, that empowers you to live better lives and to maximize your potential as believers. Now, you know what the drill is. Do what you must to invite some others to come in and to be a part of this conversation. Let me just get something straight there. Yeah, I am so moved by this one. We're talking today about the danger of anger. And why is this important? This is important because we are in, I believe, this is just my assessment based on the life I've lived and just some very mild grasp on history. We are probably in one of the angriest generations to ever live on planet Earth. One of the angriest generations to ever live on planet Earth. When you see the violence, when you see the dysfunction, when you see the road rage, when you see people going off on social media, it's just that I think it's the angriest generation that's ever inhabited the planet. And I was having this conversation with one of my spiritual daughters this week. We were sitting and she mentioned something. She mentioned something that she read in a book, and it's a concept. And I kind of searched it out, and I don't think that it is an official psychological concept as of yet, but I believe it probably will be at some point. But some mental health professionals reference this particular concept, and it's the concept of anger addiction. And this is where people use anger to cope. This is where people use anger to cope. It's because they've not learned proper social skills or coping skills. They use anger to cope. You know, like I'm a black man, right? I'm an African American, and African Americans quite often are, especially African American men, are viewed as being angry, belligerent, uptight, and it's because a lot of us, if not most of us, we kind of walk the streets with, almost a scowl and an unconscious scowl. And where did that come from? Well, I'm old enough to remember a little bit. I came in as a babe, on the, the tail end of the pinnacle of the civil rights movement. I was a babe in diapers when Dr. King got assassinated, right? John F. Kennedy and all these things happened. And but I was old enough. I was aware, and I'm old enough, and I was aware enough to remember a time when, and it still does happen, to be honest with you, where you almost had to walk the streets like you were angry to make certain people second guess trying you. And so I think as a defense mechanism for the society we've come up in as African American men, I think we wear that angry scowl as a coping mechanism. Now, I later learned that using my words would afford me a lot better outcome than walking the streets as a minority with an angry scowl. And so now I just engage in conversation, and I see where it is. I see where it can go, and I choose to engage or not. But I actually walk the streets now with a smile, and if that energy is not reciprocated, But I guess my point was people are anger addicted, and it is the way many people cope with things that are out of their, or they think are out of their grasp or out of their hands. And needless to say, anger is a problem in the body of Christ. I've never seen such an angry generation of Christians. This is a generation of angry Christians. We are angry with people in the church. We almost come off as though we hate sinners, and it makes me wonder, what business are we in? Are we in the business of souls, the way we get on social media and just talk and just run our mouths and spew all of this anger? Well, go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. The danger of anger. I just saw this today as I was contemplating the title for this particular lesson. Danger and anger are inseparable. You can't get danger without anger. Danger. Am I spelling it right? Danger, right? Danger. Danger. You can't get danger without anger. And whenever you're in an angry position, you run the danger of danger. Anger leads to danger, either for you or for those who are associated with you. You cannot separate danger from anger. Ecclesiastes 7:9 reads like this: Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. Stop being so quick to get angry. For anger resteth in the bosom of fools. In other words, a foolish person is one that has created a nest for anger in his or her own heart. That's why the Bible says, be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. It's because the quicker you are to anger, well, not even that. When you allow anger to sit or rest in your bosom, you are behaving foolishly. And when you behave foolishly, there are consequences for you and for all of those that are connected to you. So he says, be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth. Anger finds a home. Anger finds a nest in the bosom of fools. Are you angry every day? Are you angry every day? Are you angry every time you drive? Is there ever a time that you can drive and people may move too slow or may move too fast and you're not cussing and you're not frowned up and you're not screaming in the car? I parked my car at the airport, and when I pulled up, when you valet your car in certain airports, they have to ask you a lot of questions. When you're coming back, what's your flight? What time you think you go? What's your phone number? What's your name? They ask you a lot of questions. And so the lady came up to the car, and she was asking her whole series of questions, and I sat there in my seat, And I smiled and I politely answered all of her questions. And the man that was standing by her said, wow. He said, you know, probably in the last 300 people that came through here, everybody in a rush, everybody rude, everybody like, I don't feel like answering all these questions. Why you got to ask me all these questions? He says, you the first person, probably the last 300 that came through here that was patient enough to just answer the questions that our job requires of us to ask, because the world is angry. The world is angry because the world has allowed anger to set up in their bosom. There was a time that I used to hold that stuff like that, and I'd walk around, you know, but I soon realized as I got older that that mindset was quickly killing me. And when you are a person and you allow anger to just rest in your bosom like that, you don't realize it, but that anger is killing you. Because anger, it is human. I hear you talking. It is human to get angry, right? I get angry, you know, from one degree to another, quite a lot. But you know what? Most of the time I get angry, folk never even know it. It's because I've learned to feel that anger, let that anger flow through it and out. I don't sit in that anger, you know. And when you learn not to sit in anger, you hold less grudges. If not, you know, I don't have any grudges. You don't harbor bitterness. I am bitter towards no one. You don't harbor unforgiveness, because you allow that anger you experience it, you feel it, you call it what it is, and you allow it to flow out of you, because anger is supposed to be a feeling that does not get the opportunity to sit in you and become an identity, right? Anger is supposed to be a feeling that you feel, an emotion maybe, you might describe it as, that you feel that does not get a chance to just sit on your soul until it becomes your identity. Because when it sits in you, you move from being a man that feels angry to becoming an angry man. It becomes your identity. So he says, anger will rest in the bosom of a fool. It becomes his or her identity. Look what Ephesians 4:26 says. I love this. Be ye angry. Be angry. It's human. You experience that. Even God, in his divinity and perfection, is angered, right? But he's not an angry God. He's a God that feels the anger, and sometimes there are repercussions for God's anger, but he's not an angry God. Somebody say, you know, being poetic, I'd rather be this than to fall in the hands of an angry God. God is not an angry God. God is love, right? But even love can be angered. But love experiences that anger, and love releases that anger. And love lets that anger flow through and out. It's not going to become the identity. But listen to what he says in Ephesians 4:26, be angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Get it out of you. Whatever you feel and feel it, but don't let the sun go down upon this. Don't harbor this. Don't hold on to this. Let this go. You know, you go to church, and you know, church hurt is a big thing now, and it's a real thing. Let me say that, so no one is triggered. It's a real thing. People at church will hurt you. They will hurt your feelings. You know, I was watching something on Instagram. I don't know who the person was, so it's nothing personal. But the preacher was saying something about lift your hands. And he said, everybody lift your hands. And he said to one person, if you can't lift your hands, get out. If you can't lift your hands, get out. And I said, wow, that's a bit, you know, different.
If you can't lift your hand, you don't know what this person dealing with. If they can't lift their hands, they probably don't need to get out. They probably need to come to the altar. But it was said, construed, and becomes hurtful. I've had to apologize for things that I never intended to hurt, but they did hurt. So I acknowledged the hurt. I didn't go through the whole thing of, well, I didn't really mean. No. I apologize that what I said or what I did affected you in such a way. But even in church, you have to learn how to let that thing flow through you and out of you, and not allow that thing. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. You feel in a certain kind of way, acknowledge that. But don't let that sit in you, because anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Well, the question comes, well, how do I get it out? Well, a few things I listed, maybe a lesson to itself, actually. I just jotted these down. Calmly confront. So if you feel like I said something as your pastor that hurt your feelings, or you didn't understand, altogether, calmly confront, respectfully confront. You feel like your husband or your spouse said, don't accuse, respectfully confront. Respectfully confront. Because if it's in you, you got to get it out of you. That's the whole point of conversation and using your words. You get a chance to get the stuff out of you that's in you. Then watch this, after you calmly confront, then you got to forgive. Somebody said, well, what if they was wrong? Well, I heard one man say, who was it that said this? I forget the guy's name that said this, but it was a powerful statement. He said, well, if they were right, would they need forgiveness? People that are right don't need forgiveness. It's people that are wrong that need forgiveness. See, it's because you are equating forgiveness with a feeling on your part. You want to feel like punishment is not your job. Forgiveness is your job. In other words, you release them, calmly confront, get it out of you, speak your piece, and then choose to forgive. Even if it didn't go well, choose to forgive. Just release them and let them go, let them flow into whatever they're dealing with or whatever they're working with. Let me see something here. All right. I'm trying to keep my camera focused. And then you may need to choose to remove certain people. Once you calmly confront and you choose to forgive, and if it doesn't turn out well, if it doesn't appear to be something salvageable, you remove them. Or if you don't remove them, you may have to reposition them, right? Or you just choose to resume the relationship after you've spoken your piece, they've spoken theirs, all is squashed, we just resume. We just move on like nothing ever happened. But that's how you get it out. That's how you get it out. That's how you don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. Calling and gossiping to other folk about what somebody else did to you is not going to help your cause, because those people are going to consistently remind you of what so-and-so did, and you'll never be able to forgive or move on. Now, I want to look at detriments of anger. And the first 4 points we're going to look at are the detriments that anger has to you as an individual. Number one, when you just sit in anger like that, it has an impact on your physical health. Anger can actually lead to various health issues, high blood pressure, heart problems, and even a weakened immune system. People that are just angry are always stressed, so you can't eliminate stress from anger. And what does stress do? It destroys, it deteriorates the body, the physical body. And so when you don't learn to process your anger, and you're wearing a scowl on your face 24/7, and you sleeping with your fist balled up, my brother would say, and you're ready to fight, at the dropping of a hat, that is destroying your body. Your body was not designed to have that kind of stress put upon it. You know, I was watching a show and they were asking this psychologist, this famous psychologist, if he could give one bit of advice to the world psychologically, what would it be? And his advice to the world was, live your life as relaxed as possible. In other words, be in a calm, relaxed state of mind as much as possible. Well, when you're angry, you're not in a calm state of mind. All of your vitals are going through the roof. Right? And that's just real. When you're angered, when you live in anger, you are physically destroying your body. Your body's, when you get angry, your body's overloaded with glucose, sugar. You know, that sugar rush comes just like it was it's the fight or flight, you know, whichever way you're going. If you're getting ready to run, your body loads up with sugar. So you can have the energy boost to run. Or if you're getting ready to fight, your body loads up with 14 and 30 says a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. And what is envy? It's an anger. It's a form of anger. When you're envious of a person, you're angry that they got what you wish you had or what you feel like you deserved, what you feel like you missed. It's misplaced anger, right? And so one of the detriments to you as the angry person is physical health is diminished. Then needless to say, when you are living in a constant state of anger, your mental health is impacted. Your mental health. Chronic anger can contribute, in fact, I believe is probably one of the greatest contributors to anxiety, to depression, and to all other sorts of, mental health disorders. When you're living just in a chronic state of anger, your soul is under duress. Your soul is under duress. How can you be mentally healthy when you're angry all of the time? Listen to what Ephesians 41:32 says. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. It's not good on your mental health, man. When you're just carrying all of this bitterness, this rage, this brawling, slander, you're mentally unwell. And it's going to start manifesting. Though it feels like your anger is directed at something or someone outside of you, it's going to start, you're going to realize sooner than later that this anger is eroding who you are at your core on the inside, because it's not good for your mental health to just sit and, when you're angry, what happens when you're angry and anger's just sitting in you? All you can think about is what you're angry about. And mental health professionals say one of the clearest signs of mental disorder is rumination over negativity. It's when you can't let go of a negative thought. Like a person that thinks about a negative report constantly, that person you're going to probably find is walking in depression. A person that can't stop thinking about, a negative event that someone did to them or against them, you're going to find that that person is becoming mentally unwell, and it becomes socially incapable of developing healthy relationships. This leads to what? Mistrust of all people. Because you sat in it. Now your mental health has been impacted. Needless to say, when you are sitting in anger, the danger of anger, your relationships are going to always be strained. Anger, a person that stays in a state of anger, will damage relationships with family, with friends, colleagues, co-workers, and the list goes on. And this will ultimately lead to what? Isolation and loneliness unnecessarily. But it's going to damage your relationships. It's only so far people can go with somebody that's always angry. I don't like personally being in the company of folk who only have negative things to say. You mad with the people driving in the next lane. You ain't got nothing but negative things to say about the people that you up in their face all the time. You have nothing but negative things to say about your pastor, about your family, about your spouse. Man, I got to get out of your presence as soon as possible. And when you are an angry person, you don't realize it, but you are more than you realize turning good people away from you because they just can't deal with that anger. Good people do not want to be associated with folk who are angry all of the time. Your energy is just entirely too toxic, and angry people are a major liability. Major liability. It's a high maintenance situationship when you have to deal with an angry person all the time, and you got to walk on eggshells, and you got to try to compensate for their emotions. You got to apologize for stuff they said or stuff they did. You're going to destroy your relationships, man, if you don't get a handle on this anger. Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms a quarrel. Yeah. A hot-tempered person stirs up conflict. You're going to stir up conflict everywhere you go. Now, every situation, you don't get along with your parents, you don't get along with your siblings, you can't make a relationship with a significant other work out, you don't get along with your children, you don't get along with your church, you don't get along with nobody. And every time there's a falling out, it's always somebody else's fault. Really? What are the chances of that? That you have such, as the world might say, bad luck, as we would say in the kingdom. You are so cursed that God has allowed you to have dirty parents, dirty siblings, dirty children, dirty friends, a dirty church. God allowed you to have all these dirty people in your life, and ain't nothing wrong with you. You squeaky clean. Babe, get on up out here with that. Get on up out here with that. You are destroying your relationships, and you need to stop blaming everybody else. You need to stop blame shifting, and you need to accept the fact that I have anger issues and other folk are not required to deal with it. Your anger is not my responsibility. That's your responsibility to go and make certain that you dispose of this anger in whatever way is necessary, that you calmly confront, that you forgive, that you remove if necessary, that you reposition, and that you resume if you desire to do so. But your relationships are going to be strained. There are people right now that I can't fellowship with. I love them, but I can't fellowship with you. You bring too much negative energy. You always in something. You always got something you mad about. Somebody you mad with. No, I got enough to do to keep my own heart pure than to have to deal with your stuff. Now, today, as we prepare to honor the Lord with our tithe and with our seed, those of you that love the Lord, you're members of this ministry, be it in the physical sense or in the cyber sense, I want you to get the Lord's tithe prepared, whatever that is. Look on the screen, you'll see all of the apps whereby you may give digitally. I want you to utilize one of those. And then I want everybody that is able and willing, I want you to get your seed. I'm asking you to sow a $42 seed today. That's what I'm asking you to give today, is a $42 seed. Now, you may not have as much. Do the best you can. You may desire to do more. Do what the Holy Spirit has inspired you to do, or you may desire to do nothing. Perfectly fine. Willing and able. Now listen, as we continue to give, as we continue to tithe, I want you to remember this Sunday, which is Resurrection Sunday at our main campus, we're having 2 services. Yes, 2 services. I'm going to have 8 a.m. service at 1616 Robert C. Blake Sr. Drive in the Temple, 8 a.m. service. Yes, we're having 8 a.m. service for Resurrection Sunday. And my brother's going to be there for 10:30 a.m., our regular time. But those of you that want an earlier experience, I encourage you to come and meet me for 1 hour of power. It's going to have to be timely because I'm leaving that service, going to the airport, and I'm flying to Houston, Texas, to be in our 11 a.m. service at Houston on Resurrection Sunday. After our 11 a.m. service in Houston, we're going to have fish fry. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I will personally be physically at New Home, New Orleans, Uptown, 1616 Robert Blake Sr., 8 a.m., and I'll be at Houston, Texas, 4805 Shermont Road for 11 a.m. on Resurrection Sunday. And of course, Bishop Bolden at our East New Orleans location, Pastor McKay at our Hammond location, Bishop Robertson at our Jackson, Mississippi location, my brother Bishop Sam at our Baton Rouge 8 a.m. service, and at our 10:30 New Orleans Uptown service. Am I missing anybody? We got so many churches, so many pastors. So I'm looking forward to 8 a.m. service in the temple for Resurrection Sunday and 11 a.m. at our Houston, Texas campus. I love you all. I want you to know you're on top. You're going higher. God has more in store for you. If you want to know where to get these, go to RCBLAKESStore.com and they will get it out to you. They have the sweatshirts, they have t-shirts. Go to RC Blake Store. Check that out. You know this is our thing. How you doing? On top, going higher. You know that's New Home right there. On top, going higher. Love you. See you this Sunday morning. Resurrection Sunday is going to be amazing. He lives. He lives. He is risen.
Well, family, that was a life-changing word from our Bishop, Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. I love it that he just teaches us something great that will impact our life. I know Bishop has already given you the different ways and means that you can sow into our ministry, be a blessing to our church, but I want you to know about a way you can be a blessing to our man of God. As a matter of fact, take out your phone right now and scan that QR code. You can sow into his Cash App that way, or if not, you can put in $ ROBERTBLAKESJR. You can also sow through his personal website or go to the Givelify app and sow to New Home Family Worship Center. Sow a good seed into Bishop Blake's life. It is good ground.